Hello and welcome. Today we are going to be taking a look at the new Armani Eye Tints. They released 5 new shades, so I did purchase all 5. We'll be taking a look at those. We're also going to be taking a look at the holiday offerings from Merit. And so I have the new lip trio, the dress code set, as well as the new Flush Balm trio. So I purchased mine directly from Merit, but these are also available at Sephora. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start off with the swatches for the Armani. Just to show you kind of the shimmer, there are 2 shades in the new Armani Eye Tints that are shimmery shades. And this is after removing them with micellar water. So you can see you do get some glitter, like stray glitter left over. That glitter will not be like fallout or anything while you're wearing them, but when you do go to remove it, it can be a little bit hard to remove all of that glitter. So we have 5 shades. The first one here is matte. So this is number 70M, and this one here is the only matte shade of the 5 new ones. So if you're not familiar with these are kind of, in my opinion, the classic liquid eyeshadow. This is really like the first major liquid eyeshadow that I ever purchased that really stays put all day. Creasing's not really an issue. We have had a few different iterations over the years. So with some versions, I have had a little bit of creasing, not on like a regular day, but on those like hot summery days. So this is the shade 70M Sakura. Let's just kind of buff this out a little bit. And this is going to be our matte pink. And you can see it is a neutral baby pink that leans slightly cool. So a really beautiful light pink. We do have a touch of blue in the actual pink shade in the undertones, but it's not that cool. Then we move on to one of the sparkly shades. This is 32S, and this is an eye tint shimmer, and this is going to be the shade Frost. So you can see here that this is a really beautiful light blue shade. We've got a lot of sparkle, but when you go and you actually spread this out, you can see it's really going to be more of a shimmery topper shade. You have to really pile on a lot to get more of that blue base to it. It's really more of a topper, and it'll give you a little bit of a frosty blue kind of look, and that's what I have on top right now. So you'll see that in the demos. Then we move on to 45S. This is the shade Desert, and this is also described as a shimmer shade, but this is really more of a soft gold metallic shade. So you can see that our finish here is definitely more metallic. We don't have the loose glitter in here, and it's going to be a pale gold. So this one is going to be a soft, warm golden shade. Now this is our other sparkly shade, and this one's actually called Sparkle. So this is 67S. Also, the S stands for shimmer. So, you know, our metallic and our glittery shades here are both shimmer finishes, technically. But you can see this one is going to be a soft fawn brown mixed with champagne. So again, this one is really nice for a very soft light wash. You can use this as a topper. You can see that the base is a little bit more pigmented than that in the blue. So you could use this for a very light bit of color. But again, it's going to be pretty light. It's a very, very sheer base with plenty of glitter here. And then our last one is 68S Tobacco. And this one here is going to be more of that metallic finish, like we saw with the gold. This is going to be a nice brown here. So this is going to be a neutral brown. We've got a little bit of warmth. There's a tiny bit of golden shimmer in here. But again, it's more of a metallic finish, but we do have a little bit of glitter in here. All right, so these are the 5 new shades for the Armani Eye Tints. We have 70M. This one here is 32S, 45S. Then we have 67S and 68S. So let's take a look at the eye swatches and the demos. The Armani Eye Tints retail for $38 US, and this is a crease-proof, long-lasting eyeshadow for quick and easy looks. According to Armani, we have a striking, luminous result in one homogeneous swipe with a no-feel finish, and their 16-hour wear. We have buildable coverage, luminous and radiant color, And these are described as mistake-proof, comfortable and smooth finish, lightweight and water-resistant formula. We have instant payoff and shade vibrancy. So I would actually have to say I agree with those claims. Now, as I've mentioned, I've been using the Armani Eye Tints for years. I actually only have a few now, and we've gone through a few different iterations of the formula. When I started wearing them, these things were like totally bulletproof. They went through an iteration that did have some creasing. It didn't live up the full day without any creasing. The current formula actually performs very well. So I do have a wear test here so you can kind of see how that performs. The only time I really notice creasing after a long day though is when we have like a lot of heat and humidity and your makeup's kind of melting a little bit. So if I do wear a primer though, that definitely helps that. So I would have to say these really do have pretty much all day wear. They're a really great formula. And I think they really do feel weightless on the eye. It's a very thin liquid. They're really easy to put on. You don't really have splotchiness that occurs with any of the shades that I've tried from the Armani Eye Tints. And, you know, I have to say, I do really think they are a fantastic liquid eyeshadow formula. Now, I recently reviewed the new shades of the Sisley liquid eyeshadow, and those have been fantastic. I have to say, though, the formula for the Armani, I do think is perhaps a step above in terms of consistency with how they perform for all of the shades. So with the Sisley, you know, all of the new shades that I tried, they went on nicely, very easy. But sometimes when you do build those up, you can get a little bit of patchiness with the color. It's just kind of the way it like layers. I feel like these Armani Eye Tints are meant to be a bit more buildable, so you have a little bit more forgiveness with using them. They're a little bit easier to use. The finish look is beautiful for both. They are both fantastic formulas, and I feel like you do get a very similar finished look. But if you're new to liquid eyeshadows, I do think the Armani Eye Tints are just a little bit more forgiving with application for all of their shades, whereas the Sisley, sometimes it can be hit or miss depending on the shade that you're using. One of the great things about the Armani Eye Tints is we have a very large range of colors. We also have a very large range of nude shades, and we have different finishes there. So if you're looking for something to use as a primer or an eye base and then build your other shadows on top, I think the formula for the Armani Eye Tints is a really great option. So it's definitely one that I really like that for. So when we look at the shades that I have, you'll see I do have one of those shades that I use these for. As for a few product details, because this is a liquid product that goes on the eyes, we do have only a 6-month shelf life, and that's for your eye safety. If you are not putting this directly on your eyes and you are totally not contaminating any of the liquid inside the container, you could definitely use these for a longer time span than that. We have 3.9 milliliters of product. As I mentioned, they retail for $38 US, and these are made in France. So let's take a look at just a few comparisons of shades I already have. So I do have some shades in the current formula as well as the previous formula where I did experience more creasing. The new one has definitely held up better. We have 18M, and this is going to be a matte nude shade here that I use as an eye base sometimes, but you can see that this one is fairly warm. It's kind of like a warm nude here, but it is a really great formula, and it makes a really nice base for any sort of powder eyeshadow as well, or glittery eyeshadows. And then some of my older shades here, let's go numerically. We have shade 6, and this, I love this shade, and I should actually get this in a newer version. Mine is old here, but this is a really nice kind of soft taupe shade. And then I have shade number 10, which is going to be a bit cooler. It's kind of a cool chocolate brown with a faint touch of plum in it. These are really pretty shades. So those are the Armani Eye Tints I have. I also wanted to take a quick look at this Lisa Eldridge in Ione. This is the liquid silk liquid eyeshadows. So I just wanted to take a look at this formula real quickly, because this is a new liquid eyeshadow formula for mattes. Compared to the Armani matte and the Lisa Eldridge matte, I think they both feel very great. You have kind of, you know, that no feel kind of finish for both. They blend out smoothly, And the only real major difference formula-wise for me is that the Armani, they seem to set a little bit more fully faster. So the Armani, they give you enough playtime that you can really blend out your colors. They work very easily with brushes, so you can, kind of blend out with a brush. You've got plenty of playtime there. But what I mean by fully set, if you're looking at the Lisa Eldridge like starting to set, where it starts to dry in certain areas compared to the Armani gives you a slightly more playtime before it's fully set, but the Lisa Eldridge starts setting first, if that makes sense. So I guess the best way to explain what I'm trying to say here is if you were to take one of the matte shades and you were to use, let's say, a crease brush. So you dab your matte shadow on your hand, you take a crease brush, you dip it in, you start blending it out. You have a little bit more time to get a very soft, even blend with the Armani. Compared to the Lisa Eldridge, you have to work a little bit faster because once it starts setting, you've got parts of it that may not really move and blend as easily. However, for a 100% set, no budge kind of movement, the Armani completes that drying process sooner. That's my experience at least. So overall, I think the Armani Eye Tints are a great classic formula. I personally do really like these for liquid eyeshadows. We've got a great range of shades, and I think the new shades are really nice additions. So my two favorites are probably the 67 and 68S, followed by the blue, which is 32S. I really love the matte pink though, actually a lot more than I expected. And the pale gold, I almost didn't get that one, but I was like, might as well get that. And I have to say, it is a bit more neutral than I was expecting. So I do think it's really nice for a holiday look or, just something glammed out. So overall, I think the new shades are really nice. My two favorites though are going to be these two. They're great for every day. So let's go ahead and move on to the Merit products. Let's start off with the Merit Flush Balm Trio. So we have mini little flush balms. This is a full size. So you can see the difference here. These are both gonna be plastic packaging, but the minis here are gonna have gold for the holidays. And our cap actually is going to be more of that golden tan kind of translucency versus more of the gray that we have for the permanent line. So we've got 3 minis in the Flush Balm. This first shade here is not going to be a new shade. This is a shade that we have in the permanent line. I didn't own any of the shades in this trio, so I thought it was a good deal for me. So this one here is Stockholm. And then we have the shade Mood. And Mood is a really pretty kind of berry shade here. You can see that this is going to be more of a burgundy berry. So it's more of a burgundy red with a touch of berry in it. And this one is actually going to be more of a warmer berry. So it's still, I'd say it's neutral leaning warm. So this is Stockholm and Mood, but neither of those are new shades. We do have a new limited edition shade that is only available in this set. And that is called Bespoke. And I have to say, I really like this. This is a shade I'm wearing right now on my cheeks. You can see that this is going to be a soft brownish plum. It's neutral, but this one has a little bit of cooler undertones. The plum notes are going to be a little bit cooler. So these are the 3 shades in the Flush Balm Trio. Let's take a look at the cheek swatches. The mini Flush Balm Trio retails for $39 US. As I mentioned, we have 3 mini shades with 4.5 grams of product each. We have a 2-year shelf life, and these are made in South Korea. Now, compared to a full size has 9 grams. So this is going to be exactly half the amount of product. Again, 2-year shelf life, and those are also made in South Korea. Now, the full-size Flush Balms retail for $30 US. So to get 3 minis for $38 US, I think that's a pretty good deal. And I personally really like the shades that are included here. You kind of have something for everybody. You've got some nudes, you've got some reds, you've got that like light peachy shade. So I think it's a really beautiful trio here. According to Merit, this is an impossible to mess up cream blush that effortlessly melts into the skin for a perfect all-day flush. It's vegan, cruelty-free, and comes in recyclable packaging. Lightweight and flexible, this buildable balm blends easily into the skin, leaving a transparent veil of color that allows your natural skin to show through. Perfect for cheeks and lips. Its creamy, multi-use formula features vitamin E to nourish skin for a long-lasting glow that's never heavy or cakey. It also contains microfine pigment powders that give a sheer wash of color, so it's always impossible to mess up. Personally, I really like the Merit Flush Balms. I think they're a really great formula. You get this nice sheer wash of color. They are buildable, but they are really easy to blend out. One thing to note though, these never truly 100% set down on my skin. They leave a little bit of that dewy finish on your skin. So if you were to go and touch it, you would feel a little bit of that tackiness. Nothing like sticky. It's not like your hair sticking to it or anything, but you can feel that product there. So it does have a little bit of that dewy finish. Formula wise, these are very similar to the Ritual Defeat Color Nectar Pigment Balms. Those are going to have a very similar formula and performance. However, you do actually get more product for the price with the Merit Balms. So let's take a look at the permanent shade that I have. This is Raspberry Beret. So this is the only one that I have in the full size. And you can see it's a really beautiful raspberry plum. And I really like this one. I use this one a lot for those barely there makeup days during the summer in particular. So just for comparison, this is the Ritual Defeat Color Nectar Pigment Balm. This one's really old, so it is drying up a little bit. But this is what it looks like. This is actually going to be a little bit more pigmented than the Merit overall for this particular shade. But it's also partially because this one is drying out. So this one is called Bee Sting. And you can see how it compares to Stockholm. This is going to be more pink. Stockholm is more of a soft peach. Another similar formula that has just come out is a Tom Ford in High Altitude. And let's put this one right up here. You can see that we do have kind of this same type of balmy kind of texture, but we have a little bit more of a sheer shine to the Tom Ford. So the Tom Ford is going to be more shiny, but you can see the level of sheerness is going to be about the same. So I hope that was helpful. Let's go ahead and move on to the lipstick trio, which I'm super excited about. Now, the lipstick trio, this is called the Dress Code Set. And I was so excited to see this because we have limited edition shades and we have a brand new formula. So in the satin formula, I personally really like their satins. We have the limited edition shade in Bespoke. So again, we just saw that also in the blushes as the new limited edition shade. So we do have a matching lipstick. Let me go ahead and swatch the blush right next to that so you can see how that looks. You can see how close they are. You can use the blush on your lips. I personally don't because it is such a thin texture. I like to feel a little bit more of an emollient texture to it. So that's why I personally don't really use these on the lips. But you can, and you're going to get just a lighter, more sheer version of the lipstick. You can see how close they are. But I really love the Merit Satin lipsticks. So for the matte, we have another limited edition shade, and this is going to be Black Tie. And this is what's on my lips right now. And you can see this is going to be a burgundy berry kind of shade. So it's actually kind of like Mood. So let's take a look at Mood right next to it. And you can see how close those are. The Mood shade is perhaps ever so slightly cooler, but they're pretty close to each other. So you can see we have a different shade on the packaging for each formula. Satins are going to be in our like terracotta orange packaging. The mattes are in the gray, and in this light champagne gold is the new formula, which is called the Lip Blush. And this shade is called Du Jour. So this is a new formula or a new finish, as well as a new limited edition shade. So you can only get this in this set. So you can see this is gonna be like a sheer matte. I hesitate to say lip tint because it's actually a little bit more pigmented, but this is more of your sheer matte lipstick. Let's take a look at the lip swatches. Now the dress code set retails for $58 US, and we have 3 grams of product in each lipstick. We have a 1-year shelf life, and these are made in the US and Italy. All 3 of these lipsticks, by the way, are full size, so I think you're getting a really nice deal getting these limited edition shades at a discounted price. So again, this retails for $58 US, and the suggested value is $78 US. Just like the Flesh Balms, these are a vegan product, and what I really like about them is how they feel on the lips. So our satin lipsticks are going to be a soft, more of that sheer buildable satin formula, so you can get really light, soft look with that. You have enough slip on the lips that it feels hydrating and comfortable throughout the day. Decent wear time. The mattes also have a little bit of that slip to them with a little bit of that powdery formula, but these do not feel dry on the lips at all. So that's what I like about this formula. It really feels like a sheer buildable formula, even with the signature matte. So these, by the way, both the matte and the lip blush, they both have a blurring effect on your lips. So you can see with the lip blush, you get a little bit more blur. It's a little bit less pigmented than the signature matte, but they're both gonna have a very similar texture on the lips. I would not say that one feels more hydrating than the other. They really feel very close to each other formula-wise on the lips. Your biggest difference is enhanced blurring with the lip blush and slightly less pigmentation. So let's take a look at a few comparisons. So I'm just gonna go ahead and swatch my other Merit lipsticks. So we're gonna start off with our mattes, and this one here is the shade Sunday. And I'm not going to do double swatches for these, or we're gonna run out of space. But we have Sunday. This one here is Classic, which is a really nice shade here, but you can see how much more pigmented one layer is with the signature matte compared to the lip blush. So that's gonna be our major difference. And then I also have Maison, and you can see it's a really beautiful kind of tea rose. And the satins, I really like the satins. So I really like both formulas, but I really love the shades and the satins as well. So I ended up picking up all of them over time. So this one here is Baby, which is probably my favorite. It's kind of your nude pink. Then we have the shade L'Avenue, which is one of my favorite fall lipsticks. You can see it is going to be a brownish red, and I just think it's like a great fall shade. And then we have Slip, which is going to be a soft nude. Fashion is going to be a nice cool tone berry. And then we also have Millennial, which is going to be a soft pink. It's a really great everyday pink. This one's neutral, leaning a little warm. And then we have 1990, which is one of my favorite browns. You can see it does have a little bit of coolness to it. It's neutral, leans a little bit cool, but it's just a really beautiful soft brown shade. So those are the other Merit lipsticks in the permanent line that I have. You can see kind of the difference in finishes, but overall, I think this set is definitely worth picking up if you like Merit lipsticks, or if you haven't tried them before, because you do get to try each of the formulas. And I think the shades in here are really great. You know, not just for holidays, these are great year-round shades. I'm really happy with them. Black tie, I love the shade. So thank you so much for tuning in. I'd love to know your thoughts on all of the items we talked about here today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon. Have a great day.